video, Phil here. Today we're on Assetto Corsa and we're going to take a look at the Brabham BT62 track car, which has been released back in May, but I've only just come across it, so I'm going to give it a try and see how it drives. Brabham make sports cars. They're obviously synonymous with Formula 1 back in the day. They were very successful, but this new Brabham BT62 is like an ultra track day car for people to take on track around the world. It's 700 brake horsepower, 667 newton meters of torque, so plenty of power and torque to play with. Full carbon brakes and a whole lot of other really high spec stuff, so it's a really capable car. So we're going to take it on track at Laguna Seca and see how it drives and compare it to some of the other cars in the hypercar class, just to see how it stacks up really. So let's jump into the game, give it a try and see how it goes. Okay, so here in pit lane, let's engage first gear and we'll take the car out on track. Now, being a mid-mounted V8, let's see what it sounds like. That sounds really good. Actually sounds very similar to a V8 supercar, so in favour of that. Right, tight exit here at Laguna Seca. Let's get out on track here. Okay, so before we get started, this is an official mod by Brabham themselves. This is actually the model which they use for testing the car at various circuits around the world before the drivers actually take it out on track themselves. So this isn't made by the community, this is an official mod provided by Brabham and made in conjunction with RS Simulation. We'll add the link to download it in the description, so go check it out for yourself. This sounds so good. Now, those who are observant will notice that there are a couple of things. So there's a video monitor on the dashboard there, and the view looks a little bit squashed, but that's okay. It still functions as a rear view mirror. And the other thing is that the hands and the steering wheel don't seem to be connected very well. It kind of rotates within the hands, but we'll gloss over that because this is just purely based for the Brabham guys to get used to driving the car, so it doesn't really matter what the hands on the steering wheel look like. You have your own hands, you have your own steering wheel. So what about the driving then? Well, as we said at the beginning, it's got plenty of power and torque, so it certainly picks up out of the corner very quickly. Loads of power on tap. But one thing that I am noticing straight away, even though I'm not pushing on fully just yet, is just how good the brakes are. And they're full carbon brakes, carbon on carbon, so discs and pads, but you can really nail the brakes and it'll stop you so quick. Get to a big braking point at the top of the hill for the corkscrew here. Make sure we don't miss the shift. Slam on the brakes. Just stops the car so quickly. Now it's got inboard suspension on this car as well, so it's not just all about power and where the engine's mounted. There's a lot of thought gone into the handling of the vehicle as well. You can really tell because it's very positive on turning. Actually, you can turn the car in and it'll go in no problem. Feels like there's plenty of grip available. Down to the first corner here. Get the car tucked in. And let it breathe in the middle of the corner, but you can really put the power down so quickly and the car will just take it. Even there, look, see, there's a little bit of a wobble on the exit, but nothing that's uncontrollable. It sounds as he smashes one of the sausage curbs on the apex. It's the thing with Laguna Seca. You really got to miss those huge apex sausage curbs because they'll just totally throw you off. Such a quick corner, this one. Wow. So much grip. Obviously there's a huge rear wing on the back as well, which helps with the aerodynamics and pushing the car into the ground. I've got a bit of a hop on through there. So as you start to pick the speed up, you can tell that's when it starts to get a little bit more edgy. See, there's No way I should have been able to stop that into there, that's just mad. Wow, what a thing. What a car. Oh, he just brakes so late. Turn it in on the brakes as well. Just to help with the rotation of the car, and it really does what you want it to. Still messing with that curb, don't want to go near that again. So the force feedback is pretty good. I've had to turn it down a little bit just to protect my wrists if anything, because it's quite strong, so but it does feel very good. Do the corkscrew once more. Such a cool corner, that one. Just really just let the car point itself where it needs to go, and you just hang on, really. Okay, so as we mentioned at the beginning of the video, we're going to put this car up against its competition in the Hypercar class in Assetto Corsa just to see how it stacks up. So let's go for a hot lap of Laguna Seca in the Brabham. We have our lap timer in the top right. So let's see how we get on with this. Going to get ourselves a good run out of the last corner. Distinctly average, to be honest. But that's okay, we're up and running. Let's see what kind of lap time the Brabham can produce. Just about get it slowed down. Just avoid the curb on the inside. There we go. Conservative on the exit there, didn't quite carry as much speed as I could have done. That corner you can really carry a lot of speed through it because it's cambered and uphill. It's a tricky one. Just about survived. Towards the corkscrew. Made it through in one piece. Late apex through here. Power on early. Got to get this one hooked up on the inside, otherwise you just wash out. Last corner. And away we go over the line. Let's see what's our lap time here. 1:17.993. There's our ghost car away from there. So what can we do with that one then? 1:17.9. Let's see what the competition can do. So what better place to start than the McLaren P1 GTR. McLaren and Brabham were big rivals during their days in Formula 1 together, so this should be an interesting comparison. We know the GTR P1 is an absolute weapon, so let's see how it gets on in comparison with the Brabham. Let's jump in the car, gullwing doors down. Right. Again, a V8 engine underneath the engine cover of this car, mid-engine again. Loads of power to play with. But we also know that the P1 is a bit of a handful. So let's see how we get on here. One over the line. Down towards the first corner, car's twitching on the crest of the hill there. Now, I've got to get on the brakes really early in this car because it's not as good as the Brabham. There's a lot of understeer to play with there as well, so don't get to take as much speed through the corners. So you've got to hope that the engine power can help us out down the straights a little bit. Running off onto the dirt on the outside. Let's get this car tucked in here. Gotta wait so much longer to get the power on. Let's try not to die going up the hill. Yep, we're okay. Up to the corkscrew. Early on the brakes, get the car stopped. Please. We're through. Back down the hill again. Power on hard. Get through the corner. Lost some time there. The car stopped for the last corner just in time. Hard on the power, let's get to that line. We're already miles slower than the Brabham. 126.5. Wow. That's considerably slower. Okay, next contender. Okay, so obviously no hypercar video comparison will be complete without something from Maranello. So here we are, this is the Ferrari FX XK, using loads of electronic trickery. So we have movable rear wing for air brakes and straight line speed. We have KERS and all sorts of other really high-tech stuff going on. So if anything has a chance of beating the Brabham, this could be it. So let's jump into the car and take it for a spin. So unlike the previous two cars, this one is running V12 power, of course. So we have a nice screaming V12 behind us. Okay, let's head up to the line and see how this goes. Up over the top of the hill. Whoa, car is trying to get away from me. Whew, dear. Again, the brakes aren't quite as good as the Brabham. There's a fair bit of understeering there again. Definitely more lively from the rear end, that's for sure. Get the car tucked in, careful with the power. Down the middle straight here. Let's carry some momentum up the hill if we can. It could have been better, that's alright. Let's try keep it on the road through here if we can. Barely. We got away with it again. To the corkscrew, early on the brakes, get the car stopped. Come on, turn in. Get the car turning early through here, try and get that front end stuck. Down to the last corner. Power on nicely through there. Let's see what the lap time is. Still behind the Brabham on 126.0. Well, Brabham's looking pretty unbeatable at the moment. We have one car left to play with. Let's see how it gets on. Okay, so sticking with Italy for our final contender, this is the Pagani Zonda R, what I consider to be the original track day hypercar. Again, V12 power just like the Ferrari, but everything about this car is just absolutely insane. The noise, the looks, everything. So let's see how this gets on in comparison to the Brabham. And I know I've said this with the Ferrari, but this could be the closest opportunity to beat the Brabham. So let's see how it gets on here. There's carbon fibre everywhere in this car. Okay, out of the last corner. Let's get our run over the line. Rev counter right in the middle of the steering wheel, which is very typically Pagani. Just mad. Already much more stable over the top of the hill. Okay, get the car tucked in. Get the power fed in nicely. Avoid the curb, fight the car on the exit a little. There we go, up the hill. This is where the momentum really matters. Try to keep the car on the road. Big sideways just to keep me awake. Corkscrew. Try and keep the huge rear tyres from lighting up. It's just trying to get away from me everywhere. Oh, so far so good. It's one last corner to go. Here we go, up and over the line. And again. A bit slower at 26.0. Well, I guess that means the Brabham takes it. So, Is that just the car being that good? Or is it something else? Okay, so that was an interesting test, wasn't it? As you can see from our leaderboard on the screen there, the Brabham was comprehensively quicker than the other three. It's quite close between the Zonda, the FXK and the P1 GTR, really. I know I had a couple of moments in a couple of those cars, and that would have cost a little bit of time, but it wouldn't have cost as many seconds as it would do to make up the gap between that and the Brabham. So the Brabham comprehensively won this test. So yeah, quite a car. Let's go back into the sim and give it our final thoughts. Okay, so that may not have been the fairest test in the world. This is a modded car, this is additional content for the game, and we were putting up against the official Kunos created cars. So there may well have been a discrepancy in terms of physics used, etc. But the car is very, very quick. We know it's set that record at Bathurst, and it is a very capable car. So if you're looking to race them against similar cars in Assetto Corsa, you are going to find that you run away with the race with this particular car if you're up against the Ferrari, the McLaren and the Pagani as well. But what do we think of the car? Sure, it may well be ridiculously quick around a track such as this, but if you're just driving it just for the pure joy of driving a car on track in a simulator, Brabham ticks the box for us. It is good to drive, the feedback's good, it's got enough grip to be a quick car to drive, but also it can catch you out. It sounds amazing, and the actual feel of the car does feel very connected to the road, which is nice. So the car looks great, it's nicely modelled. There are some issues with the shadows, but again, this was just made purely for the purpose of training the drivers, so they weren't really too worried about all the fine details. But it's good of them to release it for the general public to have a go at as well. They can sample their car on track. And as I said, we put the link in the description down below, so go check it out, go download it for yourselves, let us know what you reckon of the car. But we think it's a very worthy addition to the roster of cars for Assetto Corsa. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a like. If you really enjoy our content, then consider subscribing to the channel, it's free to do. And we'll be releasing more content very soon. If you like this kind of content, if you like seeing cars put up against each other, let us know in the comments as well. Maybe let us know what car you want to see compared to another car. But that's our video on the Brabham BT62. We hope you enjoyed it. We think it's a great car. Go check it out for yourselves. But until next time, we'll see you soon.